Welcome to literary and jury charge practice. Let's get started with this jury charge. Ready? The right to a speedy and public trial and jury is an important right. In some places, that right is not granted. Another right is the right to confront witnesses. The person has the right to hear the witness in court and to respond. Before a person is questioned, the person is supposed to be informed of his rights. An important case decision is the Miranda decision that sets forth the principle that a person must be informed of his rights. The rights that a person is to be informed of is his right to an attorney and his right to remain silent. The officer or officers who are taking the person in for questioning must inform the suspect that he has the right to an attorney and the right to remain silent. These rights have been set forth for him in the Constitution. However, it is the Miranda decision that requires that the person be informed of these rights. The Miranda warning tells you that you have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. These two rights are so important that a Supreme Court ruling determined that police must tell the arrested party of their constitutional rights. A defendant must post bail to be released from jail and will lose that money if he or she fails to appear in court. All right, now let's do this literary, and this literary is called Countdown to Camping. Ready? I come from a long line of people who do not camp, which is why it wasn't until age 30 that I took my first real camping trip. All was going well for my wife and me until our second night in Glacier National Park, when it started to rain. I was initially excited, as I love the sound of a good rainstorm. That delight faded the moment I rolled over in my sleeping bag and discovered the small stream that had started flowing down the center of the tent floor. As that stream turned into a river, we grabbed our sleeping bags and beat a hasty retreat to our small car. Needless to say, it was a terrible night. After the sun rose, a part of me swore I'd never camp again. But it was too late. I'd already been smitten by the idea of sleeping out under the stars. In the 25 or so years since that fateful night, I've learned a lot about camping, most of it the hard way. Mistakes and misadventures are great teachers, but perhaps I can spare you some grief. If you're new to camping or just looking for ways to camp better, read on for inspiration and ideas for an excellent outdoor adventure. All right. I have to say that sounds like my family. As I was growing up, although we never actually did get into camping at all. So I guess it's never too late, right? Alrighty, let's move on to some more jury charge practice. Ready? A bondsman will, for a certain percent of the bail, act as the surety and post the money. In states where there is no bondsman, the court acts as the bondsman. This means that the defendant must pay the court the bail. If you are released on your own recognizance, you need not pay anything. The judge will issue a bench warrant if you fail to appear in court. The bench warrant is an order from the judge. A judge may issue a bench warrant for a number of reasons. At any time that someone does not follow the orders that the judge makes, the judge may issue a bench warrant. If the defendant loses the case but is able to get an appeal, the defendant may be released from jail during the appeal if he applies for and gets an appeal bond. Individuals who receive an appeal bond are released until the decision on their appeal is made. You may be released after a conviction if you are pardoned. If you are pardoned, you are set free. If you cannot afford an attorney, the state will provide you representation. That person is called a public defender. Excuse me. All right, shall we get back to our adventure, our camping adventure? All right, this is a list of 10 reasons to camp. Ready? Connecting with our peeps. Because texting shouldn't be the only way we communicate with our friends, spouse, or kids. Long hikes, campfires, and unrushed sit-down meals together create opportunities for face-to-face conversation. A feast for the senses. Because there's nothing like basking in the smell of wood smoke, savoring a perfectly toasted marshmallow, or hearing a coyote howl while immersed in the outdoors. Outdoor education. Because suburban life has made us all soft. That may explain why rekindling long dormant outdoor skills like building a roaring campfire can be quite satisfying. Overcoming adversity, because dealing with the occasional setback gives us a chance to rally, thereby teaching young and old alike the important life lesson that most problems can be solved. On that note, we'll finish up our 10 reasons to camp later. Let's see, there are 5 more reasons to camp. But for now, let's work on some jury charge practice. Okay, ready? When jurors are locked up, they are locked up somewhere until the trial is over. They may not be allowed to use the telephone. They may not be allowed to read newspapers or watch any news reports. In these cases, they are instructed not to speak to anyone about their views on the case. They are not to discuss the case with other jury members. During the time that they are locked up, they are deciding the facts in the case to arrive at a verdict. During this time, the jury is said to be deciding the case. During the normal process of deciding the case, the jury is locked up in a room. In high-profile cases, the jury, as stated before, may be in the process of deciding the case for days, weeks, or even months at a time. Usually, when the jury is being selected, the jurors are asked about their availability for long periods of time. Some people, due to family, may not be able to be away from home for a long period. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, it looks like that'll conclude our literary and jury charge practice for today. Thank you.